Do I look like trash? I feel like trash.
Also, what do you want me to say to that? Yes.
Yeah.
Especially to your sassy self right now. You look fine.
I mean, my face.
You look great.
Perk up.
Excuse
You
me.
heard me. I'm so, like, wrinkled.
You hear all.
The only good thing about me right now is this shirt. Hello everyone and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
Board games.
And
board gamey things.
Exactly. We are here today to do another review, an overview and review, also known as Done Well, Frickin' Do Better.
Done well, do better.
Done well, do better. Basically, we're going to talk about today's game, which is Victim. We have the base game, the Cursed Forest, as well as the expansion, the Asylum. Victim is published by Hexa House, and it is designed by...
Good luck with the name. Titanan Gamson. This is really cool because
Titanan Gamson.
this is a publisher based out of Thailand.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
That's crazy.
You got an eyelash.
Did you get
Got it.
You didn't even let me make a wish.
These boxes are small.
They are gigantic, look! And perfect for spooky season. We are going to start off with just a brief overview of the game. The Victim is a horror board game where players cooperate to complete defined missions for 2 to 6 people. The game takes about 40 to 90 minutes to play. Each player will receive a different character with unique skills such as enhanced abilities in navigation, searching, healing, and decoding. Players will need to brainstorm and wisely divide duties for each other to find a way out within the time limit. However, in the middle of the game, one of the players will become possessed by evil, changing their objective to eliminate the other players or sabotaging their escape attempt. The remaining players will have to team up to overcome obstacles and escape the deadly forest. So basically, Victim is a cooperative game where at first it starts off with everybody playing together as one team, and then after the third round in a 2-player game or the second round in a higher player game, one of the people will become possessed by evil. And the story is there was a plane crash in this forest of this rich guy, and his daughter wanted to go and save him, so she brings a bunch of her friends and people who she thinks can help to this forest to try and find the plane crash, to find her father, but instead they find horror, terror, murder, death, evil in this cursed forest. So the objective of the game is you are trying to find the bunker to get into, and you have to decode the you gotta do a little code
bunker
breaking,
door.
the bunker door, to get in until you can be rescued.
So you don't know where the bunker is, and you don't know the code, and you need to uncover it by navigating the terrain, uncovering forest tiles with a bunch of different things on them. The bunker is at the bottom of a stack of tiles, so you need to kind of get through that stack in order to find the bunker.
And then with the Asylum, which is an expansion to this game, the story continues. So it comes after all of the survivors have been saved from the cursed forest. They get taken to a hospital, which actually ends up being an asylum. And in the asylum, they are checked in, and then there is a gas explosion. What comes to be is that actually maybe it wasn't a gas explosion. Maybe it was something more nefarious.
Nefarious.
Yes.
Indeed.
Like evil, which it was. Once again, the expansion, kind of the same premise, only you are now in a 3-layered building, and you are trying to find a key. Yeah, 3-floored building. So you're trying to find a key in order to get into the basement. Once again, trying to find the bunker to decode, to go into the bunker until you get rescued. And it is the same characters you can use from the base game, but it also comes with a whole new set of characters, residents of the asylum and workers at the asylum, as well as a whole new set of evils.
Mechanically, this game, think Betrayal. It's very much like Betrayal.
Tile revealing.
Tile revealing. There's eventually going to be a twist in the game where someone eventually ends up playing against the group, just like you do in Betrayal.
You become possessed.
In terms of theme, for the first one, The Cursed Forest, think Lost. It's very much like Lost, but with like an actual more like horror-esque theme attached to it.
That's the game in a nutshell. We are now going to jump into our review, starting with things that this game does well. I think the thing that this game does very well is the theme. I think the theme is very well thought out. All of the characters have a backstory. When you first open up the rulebook, there's a whole story that tells you who the family is, how the plane crashed, where it crashed, the daughter, who she's talking to, who are they, how did they get there. It gives you the entire story to really set the theme for you. And everything from like the event cards that you pulled, the tiles that come up, to the creatures, it's just very, very thematic and spooky and weird. You know, like the main character, Relita, is like a high school cheerleader who's just trying to find her dad who crashed in a plane. And then for the expansion, kind of the same thing. Like you've got the security guard and a firefighter as characters, and you know, doctor and
psychiatrist,
a spooky little girl. I think that the theme is done incredibly well. How the game is set up, I also think it's just a really cool and maybe not unique idea, but kind of unique idea. Eventually, like I said before, after the third round, somebody gets possessed and then you are no longer playing as a victim. You are now suddenly this evil creature, and it comes with like 6 different creatures that you can choose
in
from.
each game, I think.
And they're all different. They all play slightly differently. Making it a bit more thematic to that actual evil. And each of the characters also have different abilities that make them more unique. Like Relita can run really fast and run more than other people. There's a reporter who can investigate and like look at tiles and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of that stuff that I think goes a really long way with the theme. I also think that the components are really well made, with the exception of, and I'll talk about this in Do Better, the Tower of the Asylum. But like the minis are really cool, and it comes with a ton of them, and the artwork is so good. Yeah, so those are some of the things that I think this game does really well. Jeffrey?
I want to leapfrog on Jamie a bit. So thematically, it's really in-depth in my opinion. Like they invoke that thought of like, okay, I have so much time in order to do things before this is all going to kind of go to crap and there's going to be a big twist. Thematically, like Jamie nailed it. I was super into the theme. It felt like a horror game. It played like a horror game.
You feel hopeless like you would.
I felt like there was no way we were going to win, and we didn't. Well,
we didn't. Well,
in every instance, the victims did not win this game. This is a game that you need to optimize your moves.
Yeah.
On top of that, also component-wise, to Jamie's point, the miniatures in this are phenomenal. I've painted all of them. They are incredibly detailed, well thought out. The box art, the art on the game is immaculate. Component, the dice are beautiful.
Oh, the dice, I forgot.
Everything in this game is beautiful. They've done an incredible job. Recessed player boards.
I didn't know what you were doing, and I thought that, like, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought there was a fly, and you just...
No, I did not eat a fly.
What did you just do?
I was given props. I really like the gameplay. I think the gameplay is really good. I had a lot of fun with it, even though it was incredibly punishing, incredibly difficult. I did think the game was fun. I would say I don't think 2 players is the optimal play count. I would say this would play best at probably a higher player count. I'm thinking around 4 would be ideal.
And then in terms of Do Better, I have a few comments. I have a few notes. This game, like Jeff just said, is very punishing. There's times when you just can't do anything, and it's after 3 rounds that somebody gets possessed. And it just feels like that comes on very quickly. And that could just be because we were playing at 2 players. When you play at 2 players, you play as 2 characters each, though. So we still had 4 characters. You roll dice based on the level of your attributes or your skills. So let's just say you had a level 1 intelligence and you had to do a skill check. In order to pass a skill check, you need at least a 3. And on the dice, there's 2 sides that have 0, 2 that have 1, and 2 that have 2. So it's literally impossible for you to pass that skill test, and you have to test your skills all the time in this game. You have to roll the dice all the time, and I find the dice to be very punishing. I wish that there was one side that had a 3, just one side.
And people will probably state, oh, but if your intelligence is 1, then you shouldn't pass the test. The problem is in this game, your attributes change constantly.
Yeah.
And it's very punishing in terms of being like, you have to lose an attribute. So it's very difficult to predict what exactly is going to be beneficial for you to do. This game is very luck-based. Not only just in the dice, but there is tiles that you're pulling in order to break the door code.
Yep.
And those are all randomized. It's basically a math formula that you need to complete. If you find the bunker, you will uncover a bunker tile, which will say a number on it. Say it's 15, 17, 30. 72. You then have to uncover a bunch of different decoded tokens in order to create a math equation that equals that number. And those are randomized.
Yeah.
So Jamie actually almost won one game as the victims, but when she got to the point where she was pulling bunker tiles, she just wasn't pulling the appropriate ones to develop a formula or an equation to make the door open.
And so, it wasn't just because I was bad at math. The numbers didn't work. Because of the luck component, like I said before, there are times when it feels like you can't do anything. An example, if you end your turn on a tile that has nothing on it, so there's like corpse tiles and decoder tiles and things that if you're already on them, you can use an action to do the thing. Things. But if you're not on one of those tiles, then you're going to want to run so that you can go to a new tile. And if you roll nothing, you don't get to run, and then you don't get to do anything.
And you can't do the same action twice. Yeah. And to Jamie's point, when you only have 3 turns before the evil comes out, every decision matters.
And you only get 2 actions on your turn. Yeah, I just feel like it's very, very, very punishing. Also, one thing that I want to talk about is the rule book. I don't think the rule book is that good, but usually you can find a video online that can explain the game. There's only one video online right now explaining how to play, and it's from Meeple University, so it is good, but I still would like to have a rule book that I can
the rule book is tough.
Yeah, like even if you wanted to look up what an event card means, you'd read the event card, you look it up in the rule book, and the rule book says exactly what the event card says. It doesn't really give you any more in-depth explanations.
For me, similar to Jamie, I think that there's a bit too much randomness in this and too much dependency on luck and dice and pulling the right tiles at the right time. However, in saying that, there are ways that you could technically overcome that. Jamie and I were mentioning or chatting about it after a few of our plays. Instead of ending your turn on a space that doesn't have an action ability on it, making sure you're ending a turn on a space where when you start your next turn, at least you'd have that opportunity to do that action. You're ultimately still going to be dependent on dice rolls, and the dice in this game are very punishing. It is very difficult to get a positive result in the way you want it to be. 2, the modular board is, Jamie put it together and she struggled with it. It is very flimsy. The cardboard in traditional fashion that folds and opens up, it's got a bit of a bend in it, and when you're trying to get things to lay flat, in theory,
it's a great idea.
Great idea.
Cool. Yeah.
And I'm sure a future iteration of this would be unreal, but I loved the idea. It's so cool to be able to go up and down on a 3D board within this asylum and placing tiles. Awesome. Rule book for sure. There's not a lot of context in it. It was a struggle for us to get through, so we felt like it's, beneficial to mention it here. I don't think it's a bad enough rule book to not be able to get it to the table and play.
We still figured it out. We still have some questions that were like,
Yeah.
I like, as an example, running past, one of the evils. Are we allowed to just run through their space? And it doesn't specify that you can't, but I feel like would be weird.
I think we're adding some we are what's the word I'm looking for?
Awesome.
We are
that wasn't it?
No.
Reviewers. We are girls.
We are projecting our gaming experience onto this game. Wherein we would play a game and traditionally you wouldn't actually be able to run through an evil like that. So we're like, well, that doesn't make sense because in every other game we play, we can't do that. But maybe that's just the way this game works.
Could be.
So that's part of it. But yeah, I mean, you'll come across some hurdles, but I don't think they're big enough to not make this playable. I think there's some small semantics things that come up that aren't answered in the rule book. And then it just becomes like, hey, we'll just make this something. We just do this in this instance, which is fine.
And one thing that I did want to say too that I forgot in the done well part is that I do think this game has a ton of replayability.
Yeah, for sure.
A ton, because you can mix and match the characters and the evils on each of the boards. if you get both. Plus, there's all the different evils like that you could become possessed by. You could play with different characters, and because of the randomness, it's going to be different every time that you play. So that is another thing that this game definitely has going for it, for sure.
Yeah, the evil's randomized, so you'll pull a tile.
Yeah, you don't know which one it is.
You'll do a check on all of your characters to see who becomes possessed, and then you move forward. And
we both had a chance, like we both became possessed in the games that we played, and I got possessed by the werewolf, which I didn't love.
Very basic.
Very basic. He was a real basic werewolf. But Jeff got possessed by the scarecrow and by the witch. No. Ghost. By the ghost. And they both had really cool
So to go back to the theme, which I think they've done really well here. So the ghost character can basically teleport around the board and like basically show up behind someone randomly on a tile, which is really cool and really thematic to what a ghost ability is. The scarecrow, I was able to create all these straw man characters around the board that, you know, would attack them and pop up out of nowhere. And, you know, I'm like basically manipulating all these little straw men around. Thematically for the werewolf too, very basic, like hack and slash, like he's going to run around fast and try and eat you and slash you and stuff. So they nailed that.
In terms of comparisons, I know Jeff's already mentioned Betrayal. Another one that I would like to mention is not like a direct comparison, but it kind of gives me the same vibe as Ghost Stories in the fact that it is challenging, there's dice rolling, you're coming up against different ghosts and monsters and things. They're both punishing, but I feel like this one's more luck-based.
I think, though, the more I'm sitting here and thinking about our plays, the more I'm like, it is beneficial to max out your stats, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because then your dice rolls become much, much, much easier. But it's not easy to upgrade your attributes.
No, it's not.
So it's tough.
And if you fail the skill test, you get a wound. And if you get 2 wounds, you're critically injured.
And all you can do is crawl around until someone heals you.
Crawl around until you can heal or somebody can heal you. Like one win condition for the evil is if 2 characters become critically injured, they win. And it's very easy to get wounded in this game. Just need a strategy.
This is a game that you have to be super strategic and with how you're going to win.
And I don't know that we did that very well, so that's on us as well. So I'm excited to play it at a higher player count. I really want to play this with Zach and Jason just to kind of see how that goes. Great game to play during spooky season. I would say overall, I definitely would recommend that you give it a shot if it sounds like the kind of thing that you're into. If you are looking for a challenge, look no further, my friend. If you've played Seventh Continent and you want more punishment, come along to Victim, because punish she will. That is Victim, the Cursed Forest and the Asylum. Let us know down below if you kickstarted this game. I'd love to know. If you're interested in buying board games, not Hexa House, because it's not retail yet, you should check out your friendly local gaming store, and for us here in Halifax, that is
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
Exactly. We love them. That's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
And we hope to see you again soon. And now we say
later days.
Goodbye.
Sorry, I was looking at the
what are you doing?
I was looking at the website art and it's crazy.
The art's
the
amazing.
website's amazing. I'm all out of love.
I'm so lost without you. So basically,
DWDB.
Yeah, DW, like from Arthur.
Isn't that from Tailspin? DW. I think it's
Launchpad. No, DW.
Launchpad's from
DW
DuckTales.
is Arthur's little sister.
Or wait, no, Baloo's from Tailspin. Launchpad's from DuckTales.
Yeah, but DW is from Arthur. It's Arthur's little sister.
We can confirm after the fact, but I'm pretty sure there's the kid's name is DW in Tailspin.
When you blow out, there's like a hair. There it goes.
You want me to do it?
No. Well, why can't I do it?
Because you said your voice sounds stupid.
No, that was only when I was trying to do Cthulhu, because I can't do a deep enough voice. Players cooperate. I already f***ed it up. Cut
that out. Or don't.
The Victim is a horror board game. Why can't I talk? This is the one. That's the game in the nutshell.